Hello, Ameet and everyone. Welcome back to our channel, our PPC Gals channel. I'm Sarah. This is Ameet. And I personally have been in the paid search game for forever. I think the combination, you and I, 30 years combined, managing over $1 million in spend. So, yeah.
A lot. There's been a lot. I feel like it's been at this point, I just feel like Google Ads is the only thing I know in my life because I've been doing it for so long. So one consistent that consistently changes.
And so we've seen it all from really bad agencies to absolutely ridiculous agencies. So today what we're going to do is we're going to pull back the curtain on something that drives you and I absolutely nuts. And that's bad paid search agencies, bad paid search people. And we're going to go ahead and talk about it. So yeah, I mean, I think you and I have both been in situations where people have come to us after getting burned. And so really the goal today is to arm you, the viewer, with some red flags so you don't lose all your money.
Yeah, let's dive in. So I think the biggest one for me at the very least is the lack of transparency. So what I've noticed at our agency at the very least for the last year or so is that the conversations have changed in the sense of like clients coming up to us and going, hey, we're working with this other agency, but it almost feels like we've been lost in the shuffle. Maybe we're too small for them. Maybe they don't care about us, but there seems to be this lack of transparency, this lack of communication. They're not giving us a clear directive. Their reports aren't easy to understand. They're not really answering questions. That's a big one. Or meeting up for or willing to meet for meetings or cancel last minute, those kind of things. And if you're with an agency that's doing that to you right now, I'm just going to say run. Just run. Just run.
Seriously. So you should access your own account data. You own your ads account. We've preached that everywhere. Period. No smoke and mirrors. They need to be explaining the why behind certain decisions, not just throwing numbers at you and giving you the report and saying we delivered 50 leads. That has to be a conversation. You need to ask about the reporting frequency, what metrics they prioritize, and no sneaky conversions being added. And if they can't explain it clear, that is a huge, huge red flag.
Yeah, I like to say that if you can't really explain it to maybe a nephew or a niece that's probably sitting at like 12 years old, you're probably overcomplicating it. So yeah, that's my big thing is that if I'm able to call up my nephew and be like, okay, this is what I'm working on. Did you understand it? And he's able to say yes, then I know that I've succeeded. And if he says no, then I know that I have to go back to the drawing board, which kind of leads me to in a weird way leads me to my next point of generic strategies, where a lot of them just kind of use the same cookie cutter nonsense. In a past video, we talked about, I can't remember exactly what the topic was, but I had brought up the fact that HVAC can very easily become boilerplate. And I've watched agencies do that, which is why we have so many agencies that have niched down. Not to say that all of them are horrible. It's just that chances are that they already have like this boilerplate type of campaign already set up, ready to just go, regardless of what your business is, what your unique positioning might be, where you're located, who the competition might be. They already have these keywords in place. They already have the ad copy. And although that sounds wonderful and great, I don't like it because it's not custom to your business. It's not custom to you. It's not custom to your location, to your competitors with that consideration in them. Because again, like businesses are unique just like everybody else. And we need to actually come in with an actual strategy for that business, not a strategy for what worked for 25 other people, because that's not necessarily going to work out for us, I don't think.
Absolutely. So asking them what their process is for understanding your specific business, the market that you operate in. Do they even do competitor research? Do they understand your target audience? Because one HVAC company may be different than another HVAC company. It's what makes your business unique, and having those conversations. A good agency is going to tailor their strategy, the messaging, the ad copy, the imagery, etc. to your specific business. And they're going to plug for Ameet's agency. They're going to advocate in the conversations with you. And I always say that because you actually have a customer advocate on staff with you that comes back to you and your paid search team and says, hey, I'm going to be the customer here and I'm not so happy about that. And then they hold your team accountable before you even actually talk to that customer. And then if they're talking about keywords, bids, and things like that, just those details, the little things, the conversions, without actually understanding your marketing and your business, then that's a huge problem.
Yeah, because then at that point, it's just, what was the point? Like, I just think about it from the standpoint of like, what's the point of paying the larger bill to an agency if they're not willing to take that time to sit down and actually really truly understand what you're doing, or willing to do actually virtually anything. So like one of the bigger things, or I guess the third biggest thing that I noticed with bad agencies, and I feel like I could talk about this for literally hours on end, but it's the conversion tracking side of it. If you've followed me on social long enough, you know that this is a consistent topic that I talk about because it's something that really, really is a pain in my side, whether it's not tracked or set up correctly or not set up at all. Either is still a bad scenario. Really, there's not one that's worse than the other, because on one end you're not collecting data, on the other end you're collecting incorrect data, so you basically have nothing at this point. So I just find it really mind-boggling that like they're not tracking conversions, especially for something that is digital and we can actually have that attribution kind of go through, kind of. So like how, yeah, I just don't know. Sometimes I just want to go up to them and be like, how do you know your campaigns are working then if you're not doing this correctly?
Yeah, they don't. And so I think exactly to your point, they need to be measuring what matters, right? Leads, sales, signups, whatever the goals are. And, you know, you and I have said a couple times, can't be shady. Agencies will add extra conversions, or, you know, worst, focus on clicks or impressions. And if you're focusing on clicks and impressions, I could just run your ads in the display network, get tons of impressions, and say, oh, these are doing a great job. People are seeing them. Well, guess what? Just seeing something is not a freaking sale. Shady tactic, watch out for it. And those things are missing the point. So ask agencies and paid search managers what they're tracking, and have them show you that's in place, have them show you the data, and have you own the account so that you know that your campaigns are actually going in the direction that they should be going towards.
Yeah, I like that you brought up owning the account, because that was something that I wanted to somehow squeeze into this. Is just agent. It's not every single agency like this. There's a couple that still are operating this way, where they basically create the asset for you. So your Google Analytics, your Google Ads. And what ends up happening if you don't really read your contract properly is that they actually end up owning that asset because they've created it, therefore it's theirs. I obviously don't agree that, I mean, Sarah doesn't either, so we don't agree with that, but there are agencies who will do that. What ends up happening is that they'll actually end up creating like a layer between your ad account and you, which is like their own little dashboard. And then that dashboard, we have no idea whether the information is correct or not. We don't know if it's funneling in from the right campaign, or the ad account, or whatever else it might be. And oftentimes you'll see this reporting dashboard. It'll be like, we've got you this impression, this many clicks, and these, and here are the segmentations of the conversions, but there's no way to verify that those are actually correct. So yeah, owning your account. If you walk into an agency, or not walk into an agency, we're not going into them anymore. You're talking to an agency, that was the word I was looking for. When you're talking to an agency, really, I think the number one question really needs to be like, who owns the data, who owns the ad account? And if the answer is anything outside of you, like the client, I think it's time for you to go. Yeah, that's just a little part. Then I wanted to kind of go into like the communication side of things a little bit more, because that one's a really big piece at Hobsgate Media. We take actually very, very seriously, where we have a weekly meeting where we'll actually sit there and be like, have we heard from the client recently? Have we not? And if we haven't, then we're the ones reaching out to them just to be like, hey, let's just chat for a quick second. Even if you're really, really busy, I just want to know that you're busy. If you're not busy, can we let's talk about why, what happened? Is it a staffing issue? Is it ads not working? Like, what's going on? We want to be ahead of that problem. And the only way for us to do that is really making sure that those lines of communication are very, very, very much open.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, I think agencies have for a long time justified charging less and then talking to the client less, because let's admit, those conversations do take a large portion of time, especially if you're doing them right. I could sit on the phone with a client for an hour or two, especially at the beginning. And when agencies are looking at their margins and billable, they don't want to spend that time. And I see that as a huge vulnerability at this point. And frankly, that's why I take their business. I come in and say, I am going to talk to you. We are going to talk a lot, and we're going to get this right from the get-go. And let's move forward, in a direction where we are communicating a lot. And that communication builds a better campaign. So regular contact, proactive, keeping you updated in performance. And I said this in videos past, but making sure my client feels like they're so good at Google Ads that they could fire me and run it in a second. That is my goal. I want to be there as the expert. And anything short of that good level of communication is a major, major warning sign.
I just want to just do a quick correction on what you said. You want your clients to be so good that they're able to move off to another agency like mine.
Yeah, correct. That they graduate, right? Yes. That they think they can do Google Ads there, and then they realize, wow, this is a lot of work. I should hire a meat
Then they're
team.
like, we want to work on our business.
Yes.
Get someone
There you
else to
go.
do this
Yes.
stuff, right? Yep.
That's a great one. That's a great one.
Because that kind of parlays me into like we're talking about results, which is like the perfect thing. I was just like thinking about it. I'm like, there's results that I want to talk about, and then especially when we're talking about promising results. So this was really, really common. Maybe I would say like a decade ago. I don't know if it's as common as anymore, just because the number of good agencies has increased significantly over this time period as well. So my eye isn't on the bad ones as much as the good ones, because obviously I want to take everything that's good about them and bring it internally to myself. But promising results is a big one, and that's even like a big one in the SEO community as well, where I still get emails going, yeah, do you want to rank number one? And it's just like, no, that's impossible, dude. Not in 6 months. We can't do that. Like, but obviously businesses that don't understand digital marketing and don't understand the nuances, obviously are going to sit there and be like, yeah, of course I would like to have the number one spot within the 6 months, or I would love to have 50 leads every single month for $1,000 when CPA might be 200 or something, right? So really making sure, and this is where the communication bit kind of still continues to be here, is that when we're promising results, you need to make sure that they're actually, one, doing that, but they're communicating that with you, right? So if they promise the results, how are you going to track that? Are they communicating that with you? Be very specific as well. Try to get if they're saying that they're going to close out 50 or get you 50 leads, what exactly does that mean? 50 leads to your inbox or 50 paid customers? Because those are two different things, and business owners talk with different words, and the agencies talk with different words. And I think that's where like the real conflict ends up coming in, because one person will assume that they said something, the other person will assume that something else was said. So really just being really, really clear with all of that. Paid search is really, really complex. It's a lot of fun, but for, people like us, but not so much for some other people. So having that continuous improvement is obviously going to happen, but that also means that with that continuous improvement, we can't guarantee results. So if someone is guaranteeing them, really press them on that. And if they're not able to give you an answer that makes logical sense or any kind of sense, I would obviously suggest just to walk away.
Yeah, exactly. So be wary of anyone making promises that sound too good to be true. Focus on agencies that talk about strategy, optimization, continuous improvement, and really just not guaranteeing certain outcomes. So really, there you have it. Those are some red flags to talk about, although Ameet and I are hoping this becomes a series because we could go on and on. Anything else that you have to say, Ameet?
No, just do your research, especially with the agency. Look at the reviews and stuff like that, but then make sure you're just asking them questions. Don't be afraid to. I find that sometimes people will go, well, you guys are the experts, so you should know all this stuff. And sometimes we're presenting as experts and we're not. So having someone really push us to showcase that we actually know what we're doing is, I think, a really big step in like the agency interview process. And if you don't know what to ask, then like literally just, send us a message. We'll give you the questions to ask. Like, it's really relatively easy on that front. And also don't feel scared to walk away from something, right? Like especially with a business, if you're willing to pay this agency, let's say $2,500 for management fees and then add on ad spend, that's a good chunk of change every single month that you're putting away. So you have the right to be very, very picky with who you're working with. So if they don't say what you're looking for, just honestly just walk away. But yeah, that's basically it. I just believe that every business deserves better.
Yeah, same. And we would love to hear your stories. Feel free to comment or talk to us about it. Those are things that we love to talk about. And really, in the end, we appreciate you watching. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and then we've included all of our socials below too. Find us. We're all over LinkedIn and social media, any place that still exists going forward. But we're really happy to have you.
Thank you for watching. And yeah, like Sarah said, don't forget to subscribe and like.
Bye.